Guys, Pam here with Craft How, and I've got a DIY on demand for you today to teach you how to use the Conical warp tool and create a stencil for glass etching or sandblasting. So let's get started. Step 1 is to take some really detailed measurements about the glass that you're going to be doing. This is a glass from Target, a Pilsner. It's 9 inches tall. My decal area, I decided I didn't want to exceed about 3 inches, so there's a line there. And then I used a flexible ruler, like a measuring tape, to measure the circumference at the top, at the bottom of my 3-inch area, the middle of the glass, and the base of the glass. And then I used an online tool to calculate the diameter based on those circumferences. The next thing you're going to do is actually create your design. You can do it whatever size you want. This is just a combination of these little boxes that I drew with the rectangle tool and some text, and I just made it all a compound path and grouped it together so it's ready to go. The next step that I like to do is to mock up my design true to size. So this box here you'll see is 9 inches, which means that this glass on screen is the same size as my glass in real life. And I size my decal to fit the glass the way that I want, remembering that it's going to curve a little bit around the glass, and that's why we're using the warp tool. Once you have it the size that you want, you're going to move on to finalizing your measurements. And my little secret for this is something that I call a distance tab. And that is just a square that I draw, or rectangle, that is the same size of the gap between my decal and the rim of my glass. And then I group that with my decal and then use my measurements to open the conical warp panel, which is step 5. You go into panels at the top here, warp, and that'll open up that conical warp panel. And I already have a screenshot of when I was designing it earlier because it kind of bogs me down a little bit. But you just click on that, select your image, and click Conical Warp. And you're going to use these measurements from earlier to fill in these values here. So the top of my glass is this diameter here, based on the top measurement. The bottom of my area is 3 inches down. This is that 3-inch area right here, this distance. And then this slider right here is going to move my design up and down within that warped area. So I just slid it over until the top of my tab was at the top of my warp. From there, you can actually create something that'll help you perfectly align your stencil. And that is a series of little markers that I use. So to do that, I just create a square, and then I rotate it by 45 degrees, and then I use my knife tool to cut it in half. From there, I select those halves and I squish them together to create these little arrow points. And those little arrow points are going to line up with my alignment line on my glass. So now we have our image. Whoops. Now we have our image anyway, and then there's our tab that we created back in, I think it was step 4, our distance tab. So we select our distance tab, hold shift, and select this outer bounding box. And this is going to be a mask. When you actually apply the stencil, it gives you the area for you to attach the rest of your masking to. And I'm going to right click that and hit weld. And mine is filled in, but yours won't be. I'll change my line color so you can see it. And so that is the thing that will actually cut for me to apply to my glass. From there, we take those arrows that we made and draw a straight line and align our arrows, and then use our alignment tool to align everything horizontally. And then you can delete this line out, and then you're going to subtract the arrow guides from your file. Now, taking that file, we are going to use a Sharpie, and this works on glass or stainless steel. And you just use a ruler to draw a straight line on your glass, and then you're going to line up the points of those arrows with that straight line you drew, and you'll get a perfectly even stencil every time. I hope that helped, guys. I look forward to assisting in any way I can. Reach out to me on Facebook, facebook.com/crafthow, and have a great day.